We tend to think communication is all about the words we choose. But what if I told you that was only a tiny fraction of the story? The truth is, your body is communicating long before you even open your mouth. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on that hidden language, the postures, the gestures, the expressions that are constantly shaping trust, power, and conflict, especially at work. This isn't about guesswork. It's about observation. It's about getting clarity.
Way back in 1892, even the fictional detective Sherlock Holmes was onto this. He knew that the biggest truths are often hiding in the smallest details, the things most of us just don't notice. He understood that our bodies are constantly broadcasting what we're really thinking and feeling. So today, we're going to put on our own detective hats and learn to see what's really being said.
All right, so let's start by diving into a problem that is quietly wreaking havoc in so many workplaces: unresolved conflict.
Get this. According to HR professionals, a staggering 53% of organizations are totally reactive when it comes to conflict. What that means is they're not spotting the fuse while it's slowly burning, they're waiting for the explosion. They're stuck in this constant, exhausting firefighting mode, dealing with problems that have already spiraled out of control.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? We all know disagreements are just a normal part of working with other people. So why do they so often blow up into these full-blown crises that seem to come out of nowhere? Why are we so consistently caught flat-footed?
Well, the data gives us a couple of pretty big clues. First, more than half of all managers basically treat conflict like it's someone else's problem. They just pass the buck straight to HR. And second, a huge chunk of them, almost 40%, straight up admit they just don't have the skills to handle it. That creates this massive leadership vacuum where tiny little issues are just left to fester and grow.
And the cost of that vacuum? Oh, it's very, very real. We are talking about projects completely failing. A quarter of employees have seen people call in sick just to avoid the toxic environment. And things get personal. Nasty insults and attacks. This isn't just about hurt feelings. This hits the bottom line and people's actual well-being. Hard.
So, what's the fix? How do we flip the script and go from being reactive to being proactive? Well, the answer lies in learning to understand what's being communicated before a single word is even spoken.
This right here, this quote just nails it. We use words for the what, the facts, the data, but we use our bodies to navigate the how we feel about each other, about the idea on the table. Someone can say, "Sure, I'm open to your idea," but their entire body might be screaming, "There is no way in hell." And learning to spot that mismatch, that's a genuine superpower.
Now this is where it gets absolutely mind-blowing. Research by Albert Merhavian uncovered this incredible rule about how we communicate. He found that when we're talking about feelings and attitudes, the actual words we use account for only 7% of the message's impact. 7%! Your tone of voice makes up 38%, and a massive, whopping 55% comes from your body language. That means when what you say and what your body does don't line up, people will almost always believe what they see, not what they hear. And interestingly, some research suggests that women are often especially tuned in to these nonverbal signals.
Okay, so if body language is that important, we need a toolkit, right? Let's dive in and learn how to start decoding these signals accurately without jumping to the wrong conclusions.
Let's start with something we see every single day: the smile. But here's the thing. Not all smiles are created equal. A genuine, happy smile, sometimes called a Duchenne smile, is physically different from a polite, just being nice smile. And the secret? It is all in the eyes. A real smile crinkles the muscles around the eyes, creating what we call crow's feet. A fake smile? That's all mouth. If you want to know if it's real, just look at their eyes. The eyes don't lie.
Now look at this one. This is the tight-lipped smile, and it's a classic that gets misunderstood all the time. This is not a sign of happiness. It's often a signal that someone is holding back a negative thought or an opinion. It's kind of like a polite way of screaming "no" on the inside. What's fascinating is that studies show women are usually very good at reading this signal, but a lot of men completely miss the negative vibe. So if you see this in a meeting, don't assume you have agreement. It's a sign to dig deeper.
Okay, when you see this posture, some internal alarm bells should be going off. This is called the figure 4 leg clamp. When someone not only crosses their leg like this, but then clamps it down with their hands, they are physically and mentally locking themselves into their position. This is the body language of someone who is feeling competitive, stubborn, and is pretty much closed off to what you're saying. If you're pitching an idea and see this, you have not won them over. Not even close. It's a major cue to change your strategy.
And here is a super important rule to remember. The further a body part is from the brain, the more honest it is.
Think about it. We work hard to control our faces, to put on a poker face. But most of us have zero conscious awareness of what our feet are doing. So if you see someone locking their ankles under their chair, that's often a dead giveaway that they're holding back a negative emotion, feeling anxious, or are uncertain. It's a telltale sign of stress you can spot from clear across the room.
Now, here's a critical warning. Observation is one thing, but observation without cultural context, that can get you into some serious trouble. A gesture that's friendly in one place can be a massive insult somewhere else.
Let's take these two gestures, for example, the OK sign and the thumbs up. In the US or the UK, these are totally positive, right? Good job, everything's great. But if you flash these signs in the wrong country, you could find yourself in a very, very awkward situation.
Just look at this breakdown. It's wild. That OK sign we use all the time, in France, it can mean you're calling something worthless. In Greece or Brazil, it's a seriously vulgar insult. And the thumbs up, it means one in France, but in parts of Greece, it's basically telling someone to get stuffed. The point is, there is no universal dictionary for body language. When you're working internationally, the safest bet is to assume nothing.
All right, so let's bring all this back home, back to the workplace. How do we actually use these new observation skills to stop being firefighters and start being the kind of leaders who can head off conflict before it even begins?
Well, experts say that the most effective conflict managers all follow these 4 key steps. They're always on the lookout for those early signs of tension. They know when to step in and mediate. They model respectful behavior themselves, and they don't just walk away once the argument is over. They provide ongoing support.
And here it is. This is the connection. That very first step, identifying underlying tensions, that is all about reading the nonverbal cues we've been talking about. It's noticing the person who folds their arms tightly every time a specific topic comes up. It's hearing that subtle, dismissive tone of voice. It's seeing those locked ankles during a budget meeting. This is how you see the conflict before it has a voice.
Ultimately, this isn't about being a referee or just winning arguments. It's about becoming an architect of a better, healthier work culture. When you understand the unspoken language of your team, you can build an environment based on trust and psychological safety, a place where conflict doesn't happen nearly as often and is resolved way more easily when it does.
So, I'll leave you with this challenge. The very next meeting you walk into, I want you to pay attention. Pay attention to the silent conversation that's happening all around you. Because your awareness of it isn't just going to change what you see in other people, it's going to change how you lead, how you listen, and how you connect. What truths are out there, just waiting for you to see them?